What's going on, everyone? Episode number 46, Friends in No Places, starts now. Yeah! What is going on? I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. I've had a hell of a weekend. Excellent weekend. Got a lot of shit done. Very excited. Went shooting yesterday. Went to my buddy's house. Shot a little bit. Oh my God, that shit is so much fun. I mean, a lot of responsibility, of course. Make sure you take on responsibility, kids. But seriously, so much fun. And, we got to shoot a little bit. Now I want to go purchase another firearm. I know some people don't like firearms, but I do. It's super fun. So shut up. Here we are. It's like, those are one of those issues that you just like talk about with people and you're like, okay, you don't like them. Cool. I do. Done. That's all it has to be. But somebody has to say something crazy about this or crazy about that. Here we are. Got this liquid IV. My friend picked it up for me and I absolutely love it. Not supposed to drink on mic, but whatever. Yeah, liquid IV. It comes in this little pack. I really like it. It has 12 grams of carbohydrates per one. So there's a little redheaded girl I know of that would say, this is not worth it. It's not worth my macros. She kind of sounds like that. But it definitely tastes good. This is a passion fruit one, and I'm into it. So I'm a fan. So with that being said, when I was hanging out with my friends this lovely Sunday, was able to kind of shoot a little bit and shoot the shit. And, I really enjoyed myself and being around, good friends is really important. So I was talking about this with him yesterday and just kind of talking about it's nice to have that friend that you can go to for anything, just about anything. And you also notice the difference in the way that you talk to one another. So I'm going to title this episode Friends in No Places. I liked it. And, he liked it too. And I was thinking about it last week. So I have a lot of clientele and we have a lot of people here that come here. Now, you're all going to think about what I'm talking about pertains to fitness. And it is true, it does. But that's not always what I'm talking about. We're not just talking about doing some bicep curls and some burpees or some shit like that. We're talking about life, real life. And in your life, you're going to go through certain things, and you're going to have certain friends or certain people that come in and out. And equally as I think people who are destructive in your life are in your life for a reason and a purpose, are equally as the people who you have in your life who you love and you want to keep around. So Friends in No Places was really easy for me to kind of talk about because I've obviously had experiences where, I've had to cut friends off. I've had to cut people off. And I've also just kind of you just outgrow certain friendships, and it's okay. I mean, people get really nervous or they get really protective of this type of subject. And I think the reason is because it's usually because they're the friend that somebody outgrew. And I mean this in more of a sense of people who really want to pick up their responsibilities. Once again, everybody always thinks I'm talking about taking care of your health and doing some push-ups and going to the gym and taking time. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about life here, just overall. And, with my experience, as I was really young when I knew that certain kids were in my life I didn't want to be anything like. Now, I'm from Torrington, and I know a lot of people who listen are from Torrington too, just because that's my hometown. It's just what it is. And, it's no secret that they have a really high, there's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of heroin. There's a lot of, there's a lot of opioids. There's a lot of stuff like that. And it's really caught on there, and it's really hurt a lot of people. But I had a lot of friends at a young age where I knew that they were going down that path, so it was really easy for me to kind of get out then. But that's not to say I didn't meet other people along the way that I didn't, even though I knew what I wanted out of friendship or what I wanted out of, interacting with certain people, it still was really, really hard, to, find people that I wanted to be in my life for long term. So having with that being said, I was able to kind of get people away from me at a really young age. And I mean, I had a couple of friends where I literally had to go for a walk with them and go, "Hey, I can't hang out with you anymore. You're just a terrible choice. It's like everything is always a problem. Everything is always an issue. Um, I can't do it." They just kind of drag you down. And I know how sad that sounds, but it's so much better afterwards when you do it, because you know that you can move on with your life. It's a little bit better, and you outgrow people. But I remember, I was dating this girl, and our group that we had. I mean, you all have been through it, where you've all kind of dated the same type of people, the same kind of group. Oh, she's with this person and he's with this person. This, it's like just goes back and forth, especially if you're from a small town. And so for me, I was dating this this girl, and she said, I remember, she's like, we were out on a date, and she's like, I think it's so crazy. You're just so different. And she goes, you talk all proper and shit. And I remember being like, all proper and shit? What is she talking about? I'm like, what do you mean? And it was just because I wasn't like, I don't know, I was just a little bit more well spoken than a lot of my buddies, or a lot of the people that maybe she dated before. And I was talking about things about the future, and I wasn't talking about what I was going to party that next, weekend or the next day, or how, messed up I got from drinking or whatever. So maybe that's what she meant. And I remember just having this like look on my face. Like, what is she talking about? Why would she? Okay, all right, maybe, And then she said to me, she goes, hey, have you ever been in jail? And I go, no. And she goes, oh, good. That's real good. And I'm like, is this a normal conversation that you have with people that you're dating? Like, does most of the people you've dated gone to jail? And it was just, I just remember being like, oh, all right, she's setting the bar really low. And, she obviously isn't with me because of my looks. So maybe it's just because I haven't been to jail. That's great. But it was such a strange conversation. And I remember, like, the things that certain people, the group that I was kind of rolling around with, it was always just like getting in trouble. It was always getting in trouble by the police, or it was always like, oh, this person is an asshole because they ratted on me for this. And it's like, but you still did that. You still did a terrible thing. So chances are you probably shouldn't have done the terrible thing, and that thing wouldn't have happened. So for me, to get away from those types of friendships was really easy for me to do, because clearly as you get an adult, you don't want to be around those types of people. But it's not so obvious. It's not so obvious for everyone. And I was talking with one of my clients last week, and he said something really interesting, which it happens all the time. And he goes, I feel like I'm just running out of stuff to talk about with, a lot of my friends, because they keep saying like I've changed and I'm changing, and it just feels weird. And I think it's like, if you're changing, what you don't want to do is attach like shame that you're moving on, or taking better care of your health, or not going out to the bar. That's a big one. The bar thing is huge, I think. When I stopped going out to the bar like once a week, even like I was going, honestly, even out through my 20s, I was going to the bar maybe like once a week, maybe twice, if anything. I just always worked, so I never had that in common with people. Like, they would all be going out, and I'd be like I said, I didn't know what happy hour was until like 3 years ago. So with that being said, I think it was just a very obvious choice, very, very obvious choice, that going out and drinking just made me feel like shit the next day. And I just never felt good. I never felt awesome the next day. And so it was easy for me to kind of pull back on that, and then eventually not really go at all. Maybe now I probably go like maybe twice a month, maybe. And every once in a while I'll have a couple of drinks, and it's great, and I like it, but you definitely feel like shit the next day. But I remember pulling away from that and watching a lot of my friendships kind of, it wasn't as interactive because you're not doing that same thing. And, you want to make sure you have, good people in your life that are with you kind of through good times, bad times, everything. I have a very select group of friends, and I like that they're so tight knit. And, I'm 32, and I met somebody like 4 or 5 years ago that I consider one of my best friends. And that's rare. That's really rare to meet somebody when you're in your 30s or 40s or whatever, and then you guys become really good friends. So it's like letting the right people in is important. You can know what you want out of, like, you can know that you're going to get along because of their language, just how they interact. They're a little bit more encouraging. They don't really hold you back from things. They'd help you out. You'd help them out. It needs to be a give and take. You have to, good friends also sacrifice for other friends too. And, the difference between the people that I had, then and now is a lot of the people that are really good friends of mine are also mentors or also, in some sort of leadership roles, and that's what I've noticed I attract. Like I really enjoy spending time with people who would give me good pieces of advice or structure or things I should do or things that maybe I've never thought about. I think that's a huge thing, is when you have people around that are going to encourage you. That is the best feeling. So during a lot of growth periods, of a lot of times where you will be doing something that's kind of selfless or selfish, I should say, and some people would say, where you're just kind of being very quiet, working on your health, meaning you could be going to the gym an hour and a half a day instead of going, to happy hour, going to the bar. Or you can also, where you're taking care of your food, where you're really being careful what you put in your body. And I think that's also very admirable too. Like you're tracking your food, you're doing those things. And a lot of people have problems with that. I mean, one time I busted out my cell phone. I was sitting there and I busted out my cell phone and I put what I just ate in. I was like, oh, I forgot what I put for lunch, and I put it in. And my buddy went, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Oh no, I'm putting my food in, what I had for the day." And he goes, "Oh, nice. Cool." He's like, "What do you just track it and then that's it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." Now that type of response is a good response. That's usually one you want. But I've had also interactions with people where I've done that, or, "Oh no, I'm good. I don't want that." And they push it on you. That shit is so annoying when people do that, because it's like, "Well, you don't want it? Why don't you want it? Is it because you're on a diet? Is it because you can't have this? Is it because you get in trouble?" And you're like, "What? No, I just don't want it. It's okay." Like, it's almost like you bother them by not doing it. It's like, "You don't want the cookie? Will the cookie set you over? Are you going to die if you eat this cookie?" It's like, no, I just don't want it. It's not worth it to me. It's okay. That is what gets me every single time. And it's just like, who cares? Who gives a shit? If I didn't want to have it, I'm not going to have it. So you kind of disturb people's peace when you do that. And I think taking care of yourself and having good friendships and good people around you and having less of that type of interaction can help you be more successful in whatever sort of thing you're trying to do. And like with anything that you want to set yourself up with, like for success, it's always about like aim, like there's a goal in mind. And I tell people, just always aim for something. Like what we tell our clients here, it's like, hey, just aim for this, aim for that. And that's what we're going to set after. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to distract you from that aim. And you just need to kind of just push forward, just kind of keep going. Because it's hard enough being yourself. It's hard enough being yourself in doing this. It's still hard just being you and staying disciplined. Never mind staying disciplined for what this person said and what this person is saying and this person is saying. It's like, we don't have time for that. Life is extremely short, and it's too short to have people that, care so much about what you're doing. It's like in a negative way. Like they're, "Oh, he's not doing that. He could never do that. And, it's like, I don't need that type of doubt in my mind. Get the hell out of here. I don't need it. And you don't need it. So it's like, just pitch those people out. Either you let them know, or let them know that they're doing that to you, or you just slowly kind of just move along. So the mentors and leadership, I've always kind of found work really well in my life. People that always do things way better than I do, I like having them around. Yeah, sometimes I feel a little stupid, but I'm okay. I'm actually okay with feeling a little dumb some of the times, because usually as I'm learning, and it really helps. And, distractions and people that are kind of destruct your life are equally as important for the time being, because then you can kind of know what type of people you want in your life. So it works out good, because then to keep certain people. That's like a red flag. You're like, nope, you're out. Not you. Stay the hell away from me. And, usually it's those people who are mindlessly following something, those mindless follower type people who just, and I get why everybody does it. We all do it. But, those people who just blurt out something or say something because it fits or suits their life. I can't have that. It's just, we're too busy. We're too focused to have that sort of distraction of where somebody is just going to start saying things because it makes their life feel, better. And I know why we all do it. I used to do the same thing too. I'd make excuses about the shitty things that I was doing, because it's because of my past. It's because I was homeless and I couldn't do this. And, I wasn't raised by my parents and I didn't know the difference. It's like, you knew the difference. It's like, let's just move on. I mean, some of the things you learn on your own, certain things, but it's like, you got to put that behind you. You got to move forward, because if you always are hanging on to that shit, then it comes out in such an awful way afterwards. But you can use it as motivation and help other people instead of hurt other people, and be a part of their little circle, be a part of their lives, which is always better to help rather than take away. At least I think so. So, those people that distract and destroy you with each passing or each talk, or each time you see them or meet them, or any of those things, that is the worst. And I promise you, I can make you this promise, it takes away from you. I had somebody in my life that every single time we talked, I found myself just frustrated and angry, and it was just like always a downer, and always trying to bring me down, or something that I thought was cool was stupid. It's like, that's dumb. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's dumb. Shouldn't do that. Can't. I would never want to do that. Oh God. Well, you're not me. You know what I mean? You're not me, bro. So you got to move on. And it's like, having those types of interactions and having those types of people, geez, it's just the worst. And they will take something away from you. And if you're a good person, you got to be protective of that. Or if you're a self-aware person, you got to be aware that, you got to protect that, because that's destructive to the core. That'll destroy you within. And then you start picking up on those patterns. Like, you start doing something and then you're like, I can't do that. Why would I think I could do it? You have your own self-doubts. Now you have their self-doubts and this person's self-doubts. And now by the time you're done, you didn't even do what you wanted to do because of all these other people's opinions that you don't even, that you let in. It's like, that's insane to me. So it's very important to have good people, definitely good people around you. And it was always interesting to me where I found that the people who support you the most, the people who are there for you the most, and the people that will do absolutely anything for you they're always people that absorb a little bit. They give you, yeah, man, you can do it, but they've been through it too, where they've had other people in their lives that have just sucked them dry of any sort of motivation. They've all been through it. So, and why do you think people read so many of those self-improvement books and those self-help books and all of those things? Because they're trying to look for ways they can get those types of people out of that type of mindset out of their life. But if you read the book and then you don't do anything about it afterwards and really apply it to your life, you didn't do anything. You just read the book. All those self-help, realization type books all have stay away from toxic people. It says it in big bold letters, like in every single one. I have like 10 of them right over here that I could show you. And it's like all of them. Stay away from toxic people. Stay away from people that are just taking, they're not giving to your life. So they all say the same thing. You really could just kind of skip the book and just kind of make a book that literally says, stay away from toxic people. You open the book. It's one page. And it just says, stay away from toxic people. Turn the page. The end. It's really all you have to do. But it's always, what happens if you're the toxic person, though? Maybe then you need to read a different book. It's like, don't be a toxic person. Turn the page. The end. Yeah, it's too easy. But listen, I thought about it all day yesterday and all day today about this type of subject with friends and people that are going to come in and out of your life. Listen, I will tell you straight up, just have, if you take 1 second and you have all the people that are in your circle, and yeah, they have their flaws and they have that, but if you could talk greatly with all of them and talk to them about good news, talk to them about bad news, talk to them about certain things in your life, and they don't build you up and they don't help and you don't help them, get them out. Simple. So listen, I'm out. I'm all jacked up and hydrated. This Liquid IV stuff is great. So listen, keep them toxic people out of your life. I'm out.
Live sculpted.